This is a fascinating industry, and it covers everything. They're struggling with the same issues, but at the end of the day, they needed a place to share information. That's what we were focused on. It was a really hard thing to do, but I had a family, and I had 2 kids, and if I was embarrassed about who I was, then what would I expect them to think?
Welcome to the Leader's Edge podcast. I'm Sandy Laycox, Editor-in-Chief of Leader's Edge.
In this very special podcast, the Council's Executive Chairman, Ken Crerar, sits down with Council President and CEO Joel Wood and Chief Operating Officer Catherine Richardson for a candid conversation on leading the Council through 30 years of growth, change, disruption, and success. After having served as the association's president and CEO for over 3 decades, Ken Crerar stepped down this past July, passing the baton to his longtime head of government affairs, Joel Wood. He shares these thoughts as he moves into his new role.
So, Ken, how weird is this?
This is really weird. This is strange. It's like, okay, this is your life kind of thing.
It's the first time you've walked into the office where that desk wasn't yours in a while, and you designed this office, so it's this is a very personal space for you.
It is a very personal space, but it's a great space. It's meant for people to live in it.
I first met you when you were the lobbyist for the Footwear Industries Association, and I was working for a junior member of the hopeless minority Republican Party.
Well, it wasn't that hopeless.
Well, we were 70 votes down, so the fact that you even showed up.
We'll talk to anybody. I learned early on, you talk to anybody, you have a conversation about whatever it is that you're concerned about with anybody who'll listen. And you never know. You never know.
Well, I also remember we had looser ethics restrictions at the time, and Ken always had a little list where you could get some Cole Haan shoes at a discount price. That made you a very popular lobbyist in our office.
Cole Haans and Alan Edmonds, and there was nothing like lobbying by sitting in a Senate office and fitting the senator with a pair of shoes, okay?
I don't think we can exactly fit anybody with a commercial insurance policy these days.
I don't think so. I went from heels to heels.
So you had worked for Chris Dodd, came to Washington working for him as a Connecticut resident, and that started in, what, 1980?
Well, it was the 80 election, the 70, 78, 80. I graduated from college, and I spent a year and a half in admissions at Connecticut College, and then went off to work for Dodd. And Mark Warner was the person who hired me, along with Dodd. Mark Warner, now senator from Virginia. He was from Connecticut.
And you always regarded Chris Dodd as your mentor. I mean,
right.
You maintained a friendship with him throughout your
I
entire
still am
career.
friends with him.
So remind me again, you started at the old NACSA, National Association of Casualty and Surety Agents, in what, 1988?
89.
89.
I think.
No, had to be before that because
87.
I was on Capitol Hill. I left in 80.
It was November 1st of 1987.
A long time ago.
A long time ago.
And
Bruce Wallace called me from the Greenbrier and offered me the job, and I had spent 20 minutes talking with him.
And Bruce was the CEO for the executive director for decades.
Yes, and he was the second, I believe.
Well, I've been telling everybody I'm only the third CEO in 66 years.
Well,
so
that's
apparently there was somebody way back.
Well, there was we were based in New York.
That's right.
We were on William Street in New York. And he moved us to D.C.
So I've characterized it as National Association of Casualty and Surety Agents.
Right.
That's like a niche within a niche within a niche. So, it was an association that had a storied history of doing, this premier event that was largely social at the Greenbrier Resort for decades that gathered together the leading company execs and the leading brokerage execs. But what was the association like when you came to work for it? I know it was only 4 or 5 of you.
It was, first of all, Bruce did, he co-managed 2 groups. So it was NACSA and the surety bond producers, the National Association of Surety Bond Producers. All we did was government affairs. That's all we had. We focused on government affairs, and we were really tied into the Big I and PIA, the smaller firms.
So we're at NACSA. You helped me land my first job in the insurance industry when I left Capitol Hill.
Despite my efforts to try to dissuade you from going there.
Well, but you turned me on to it, so I'm giving you credit for
okay.
it. And I was there for 4.5 years, and then very suddenly and tragically, the executive director of the association, I don't know if he went by president or CEO, he was executive director, passed away, and
Right.
you were
Well,
shoved into the spotlight as the new.
There were 2 of us, 2 senior people, and Martin Huber and I, and he was offered the surety bond producer slot, and I was offered this one, and he decided.
And that was the split of the 2
Yeah,
organizations.
and we decided the 2 organizations should split.
So you got that opportunity. You're only 30 some odd
I
years
was
old.
32 years old when I got handed this job, and it was a decision whether do I want someone above me or not.
The Council's flagship meeting, the Insurance Leadership Forum, is over 100 years old. The event brings together the leading executives from the property casualty, brokerage, and insurance industries. But in all its years, it hasn't been without challenges. Here, Ken discusses the decision to hold the meeting in 2021 while we were still enduring a global pandemic, as well as the meeting that would have occurred directly after 9/11.
There were a couple things. One is the need was there, and I was worried. I worry about things, people stepping into your stuff, and that's what I'm always worried about that, because I'm always conscious of the fact that if there's a need, someone will fill it. There was a need at the time to do that meeting of whatever it looked like, and people wanted to come together, and so it was like, okay, let's do it. What could possibly happen?
And even though we did have a 40 or 50% fall off in full participation, those who came found it to be just more of a fulsome experience.
And the following year, it was even
bigger
more
than ever before.
Yeah.
Well, let me go back even beyond that. 20 years before, 9/11 occurred 3 weeks before our annual meeting. The global reinsurance marketplace on September 12th, 2001 went away. And we found ourselves in a crisis. And the decision was, you made the decision to cancel the meeting, but we rather substituted it with almost daily marketplace meetings for our members to highly participate in. And we worked, with the industry at large, but we were major players in the creation of a public-private partnership through TRIA to solve the terrorism reinsurance problem.
So it was an issue of providing what the market needed at the time. They needed information. They had no information. They couldn't come together because it would have looked bad. To your customers, it would have looked bad coming together. But it made a whole lot of sense to provide them information. And we did those calls. I mean, if you think about it, we were providing information daily in an email out to them. Email sounds so
Quaint.
But we did that, and we provided them something. They had information to give to their clients. They had something to say. And that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that they had something to say. And then we started those conversations with the CEOs of insurance companies to talk about appetite. What was their appetite? What were they thinking? What was on their minds? And a way for them to communicate with their brokers. So it all became around, but my core concern was the client. It's the customer. And if you focused on that customer, it's a thread that just pulls back.
One quality of Ken's that becomes very clear to everyone who works with him is that he is an entrepreneur, and he isn't afraid to break some glass and peek around corners to see what's ahead. While there have been some failures along the way, Ken's had a lot of successes as an entrepreneur, some of which he discusses.
You had far more entrepreneurial successes. I think the first of which was the creation of the benefits meeting, and EBLF, Employee Benefits Leadership Forum, also held at the Broadmoor, and it's damn near gotten as big as the ILF meeting now on the benefit side.
There was nothing out there. There was no other place for customers to gather, so the people who work with customers to come together. There was a need for that. And and I figured, and there was no one really out there who at the time understood brokers like we did. And we understand a client, and you put it all together, and it was a natural meeting.
It all sounds really natural. I remember thinking at the time, this is crazy town, because at ILF, we have a wide variety of commercial insurers that specialize in hundreds of different lines on a regional basis, on a national, international basis. But when it came to the benefit side, you had basically the BUCA companies, you had the Blues, United, Cigna, Aetna, and you had this strong dominance of just a handful of carriers. And it didn't seem to make as much sense because a broker in Florida may not have access to Cigna and Aetna.
A broker in Florida has the same issues that a broker in Michigan has. They're struggling with the same issues, but at the end of the day, they needed a place to share information.
Another of your ideas was, we've forever, and as long as I've been a member, as long as I've been on the staff here, we always hear that the number one problem is talent, and you created the Insurance Professional School, and a lot of the best-in-class programs. And I think we still have unfinished business in terms of providing scale in those programs, but we've successfully managed to launch a early career designation along with the institutes. We've got the Insurance Professional School with the best in class. We've got the broker smackdown programs. I don't know any other association that has started from scratch in the talent and leadership development area so much that has enjoyed that much success.
If we are an association of professionals and we're serving customers, it takes people, and it always takes people.
You were the founder of the World Federation of Insurance Intermediaries, and that is going to be experiencing its 25th anniversary here in Washington. I attended on your behalf the WFI meeting in Mexico earlier this year, and that is where all the leading agent broker associations worldwide get together and compare notes on what they're experiencing and what trends they're seeing.
So when we created the World Federation, I kept saying, I know there's something here because of my shoe industry days, but I don't know what it is. And I said, but the fact that we all talk together, and I will tell you that the reason to keep the World Federation going and why we spend the money that we spend is because at the end of the day, we need to be able to pick up the phone and call each other, because we share the same issues. And some start earlier in one country versus another, but at the end of the day, we all have the same issues. And the business has become more international. It's become more global, but it's been an evolution.
Let's talk about one other area of entrepreneurship, and Leaders Edge is a preeminent trade association magazine. And, hundreds, if not thousands, of trade associations have a magazine. They do newsletters. That's a core to their mission.
Well, Leader's Edge was always my baby. And the reason it was my baby was because this is a fascinating industry. And it covers everything. And so why wouldn't you want a magazine that covers this industry? And I want one that people want to open.
Ken, you say that Leader's Edge was your pride and joy, and that was your baby. It also was very personal to you, in that you wrote a personal column in it for years, for the length of your run here. And you actually came out as a gay man and talked about your family and one of the stories. That's got to be one of the highlights for you. It was so beautifully received at the time.
It was. And look,
It had to be hard, too.
it was
right?
a really hard thing to do. But at the end of the day, I had a family and I had 2 kids. And if I was embarrassed about who I was, then what would I expect them to think? And that's what motivated me. It was like, I have to be who I am.
Some final thoughts from Ken Crerar, the leader, as he helps prepare Joel and Catherine for their own leadership roles.
Boy, succession is so critical. If you've created an environment that you want to see continue, you can't really focus on the specifics, but you can focus on the general approach. And I urge you to keep looking around the corner, because I think the corner is where you have to focus. And don't be afraid. One of the things that I've learned a lot about, and I've learned this with being a parent as well as being a CEO, is you really can't make mistakes if you're just learning. And you can't learn if you don't make mistakes. And so you've got to focus on that. And you've got the headspace now to make all the mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes.
Well, but you left the organization in tremendous good shape, financially,
Good.
membership-wise. Yes, we have challenges. I mean, that M&A continues. It slowed down a little bit, but
Yeah,
it
but
may,
you know
it
what?
may crank back up.
Don't focus on it.
Yeah.
Don't focus on
Yep.
it. Focus. The business will become the business. It's sort of like what I learned from the shoe industry. Who cares where the damn stuff is manufactured? It's a shoe. So just represent the shoe industry. Represent the brokerage industry,
And
period.
That was Council Executive Chairman Ken Crerar reflecting on over 30 years in the industry. I hope you enjoyed this very special conversation.